Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thought I would try a different type of video today. So I've done all my early years videos and things, and I enjoy doing those. And I've done a few shopping haul videos, which seem to be quite popular. But I would like to share some of the books that I've been reading in my free time with you guys. So I know there's quite a few people out there who enjoy the book reviews and the book hauls, and I have to say the person that has got me back into reading my fiction is Minx Laura 123. So if you want to go and check out her channel, I will put a little link in the description, but it is Minx Laura 123. She's brilliant. She's really bubbly, really friendly, really chatty, and she's a real bookworm. And the way she talks about her books that she's been reading, and the stories that she shares with you, kind of like she's really ignited my passion again for fiction. I'm really into Terry Pratchett, and those are the books that I've been reading, and I've literally gone through all of his stuff over the past few years. I was gutted when he died. The thought that there's going to be no more of his books out there is just a really horrible thought. And now I've gone through every one of them. I'm kind of like, I know I need to find something new to read. So I've gone through charity shops, and I've literally just looked at different books on the shelves, had a little read of the back, and kind of gone, just pick up whatever. They're like £1 each. It all goes to charity, and then if I don't like it, I just take it back to the charity shop, or when I've read it, I just take it back to the charity shop. And then the money's back in the pot, isn't it, for someone else to come and spend in the charity shop and give to a good cause. So I'm going to go through some of these books that I've got down here that I've read. So the first one I've got here is After I've Gone, and this is by Linda Green. Like I said, not really read many books other than my Terry Pratchett's. I've really stuck to the things I like. This is really good. Let me tell you about... let me read the back. So it says, on a wet Monday in January, Jess Mount checks Facebook and discovers that her timeline appears to have skipped forwards 18 months to a day when shocked family and friends are posting heartbreaking tributes to her following her death in an accident. Jess is left scared and confused. Is she the target of a cruel online prank, or is this a terrifying glimpse of her true fate? Amongst the posts are photos of a gorgeous son she's not yet conceived, but when the new posts begin to suggest that her death was deliberate, Jess realises that if she tries to change the future to save her own life, the baby boy she's fallen in love with may never exist. Partway through reading this, I got frustrated because I felt like even though she knew she was going to die, it has a lot to do with domestic abuse and violence, and that kind of comes into the relationship quite early on. And I didn't feel, as a mother, that seeing a couple of photos of a child that was apparently going to be mine would make a difference to my actions. But then domestic abuse is very different, and controlling you, it happens without you realizing it. So I don't know, maybe I didn't give it a good enough didn't give it its moment, really, because I was kind of being quite critical. And she kind of resigned herself to the fact that she was going to die and she'd fallen in love with these photos. I think as a mother, it would take more than just a couple of photos that you've seen on a timeline of somebody that's supposed to be your child. I think the bond with your child is more than just a couple of photos. I think if we were going to go back in time, knowing that I know my sons, anything I did then to change anything that would risk changing, having had 16 years with one of my children and 12 years with another one of my children, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't risk it. I've got that bond with them and I've got that connection with them. But I kind of felt like if I'd just seen 2 photos of them when I was the age that this girl is in this story, that I don't think that would have been enough for me to go through what she was going through, to make sure she had this child later on in life. Having said that, the end, it ended really well. So even though I did get frustrated partway through it, it ended really well. And if you read at the back of the book, it touches on the influences of why she wrote the story, friends, things that friends have been through, and her research into domestic abuse. And it kind of made me see things slightly differently. So I was really pleased with the ending, although I did get frustrated partway through. But definitely, I would say worth reading. The second one I read was Small Blue Things. Turns out this is more of a teen read. I seem to be drawn to teen reads without even realising it, and I'm 40, so go figure. This is Alex doesn't know who to believe, Callum or Catherine. One of them truly cares for her, one of them wants to prey on her memories, both of them drowned. After her school exams, Alex finds an extraordinary bracelet set with mysterious blue stone buried in the Thames. She discovers that she can use it to communicate with the river's dead. Condemned to a half-life of misery, they must steal the happiness of the living to exist. Callum, desperate, lonely and breathtakingly good-looking, is one of them. Alex falls deeply in love. And Callum loves her, doesn't he? So, again, this is actually a really compelling read. It is based around somebody doing their A-levels, end of school, that kind of thing. But actually, I mean, I know times have changed now, and there's a big difference between when I was that age and when she was that age. You know, social media, you know, life is different now. I could still relate to it, and I still had that kind of, the way she described Callum in this book and her attraction to him, it kind of did take me back to that kind of first love and that passion and that kind of like how it felt to have that boyfriend and that kind of special feeling. And I hadn't realised, but there's 3 or 4 of these books, so I've actually ordered another couple from Amazon. Because I thought trying to find them in a charity shop was going to take me ages, but I did get them on these places where you can pay like £2 for a book and then, you know, free postage, or it's a penny for the book and £2 postage or something stupid. So I got them really cheap. I got them for about £2.50 each. So I'm really looking forward to reading into this one, like the continuation of these ones. Quite a quick read. Did that in a, I don't know, I started it in the evening, finished it by lunchtime the next day, dipped in and out of it. So it really didn't take me very long at all. Real feel-good feeling, and wanted to make you pick it up and read it again, or, you know, continue reading it. Okay, this one, see, I've got such a mix of books here. None of them are kind of the same. Now, this one is Wolf Brother. The book itself really drew me to it. I know they say don't judge a book by a cover and all the rest of it, but actually this cover is kind of very earthy, kind of really me. I like the pictures on the sides. It says here, an outcast like his father. Oh no, Torrik is alone, wounded, terrified and on the run. An outcast like his father, he has avoided all contact with the clans, but now his father lies dead, slaughtered by a demon in the form of a great bear. Somehow Torrik must keep going. His only ally is an orphaned wolf cub. And through the whispering spruce trees comes an evil more terrible than any clan can imagine. The moon of Red Willow is fast approaching, and soon Torrik must face a foe he can neither outrun nor outwit, a foe who stalks him as silently as breath. It says, Wolf Brother carries you back thousands of years to the ancient darkness of the forest, to a world steeped in natural magic and elemental terror, a world in which trusting a friend means risking your life. And this is the first book in the Ancient Darkness Chronicles. So again, I am getting hold of the next couple of books in the same way I did with Small Blue Thing. I'm doing them through Amazon shops. It says here it is a book. This is Steve Backshall has said this. I think Steve Backshall's pretty cool. What a bewitching read, often weaving its tale through the eyes of my favourite animal, transports you to a primeval world where dark magic and tribal law rule. It is. It's really nice. I thought this was set sort of in North America, kind of the sort of the American sort of Indian tribes is how I pictured it in my head. It's actually, I think they said Scandinavia in the back of the book, which surprised me. I really enjoyed it. It was, I mean, I'm really into my nature. I'm really into our forest school sessions. I'm really into respecting the earth and And this is, you know, if something was killed for food, you used every aspect of it. You didn't waste anything. The bones were used, the skin was used. You know, there was none of this waste society that we have now. If you were going to use a tree to make a shelter, then you gave the tree an offering, and it talked about the spirits of each thing. So the spirits of the trees and the spirits of the animals, and how you left offerings, and how you gave chance for the spirits to move before you killed. So before you damaged a tree, you gave the tree warning, and then you only used what you needed. There was no waste. And I think as humans, we are forgetting that. So this was a really lovely book. And the bond between the lad and the wolf cub is lovely. And he also makes a friend on his travels. An unlikely friend on his travels, but he makes a friend on his travels. And I'd like to see what happens in the following books. So definitely a good read. And then last night I finished this. Again, really compelling, quite a thick book, but this one really, this had me picking it up and reading it and reading it and reading it. It's called The Forgetting Time by Sharon Guskin. And it says here, Noah is a little boy who knows things he shouldn't and remembers things he should have forgotten. Because as well as being a 4-year-old called Noah, he remembers being a 9-year-old boy called Tommy. He remembers his house, his family, his mother, and now he wants to go home. 2 boys, 2 mothers, one unforgettable story. This follows the lives of this boy and his mother, single mother on her own, who's dealing with a boy who she thinks is kind of a bit of a genius because he knows things that he has never been taught. But preschool become concerned about him, and it becomes apparent that he may have some kind of mental health issue. Schizophrenia is mentioned. As a mother who has children on the autistic spectrum and, you know, has been down that path of worrying about your children, and knowing there's something not right and you can't do anything to help them, I could really relate to this mother's journey. Although obviously there's a difference, you know, this boy is calling for his mother and saying he wants to go home, which I've got no relation, you know, I can't relate to any of that, but he's saying he wants to go home, he wants his mum, and he's talking about a past life, and she just out of desperation happens to Google stuff and finds a documentary that mentions this doctor. And you're also following the life of this doctor at the same time, who has a medical condition, which means it's something aplasia, I can't remember, but it's basically where his language is deteriorating. And eventually he's not going to recognise the written word, he's not going to understand what is being said to him, and he's not going to be able to communicate with other people. And it's sort of a progressive disease or illness. So you're following this, but his life work has been about past lives. And so they come together and they end up meeting the family and solving the mystery of what happened to this 9-year-old boy called Tommy. It's brilliant, really compelling, really had me picking it up. I mean, I sat in the bath for 3 hours and finished this book. I just kept topping up the water. I've been at forest school. I've been like working really hard on maintaining our site and cutting back the brambles and, you know, doing stuff so we're ready for our sessions in a, you know, well, as soon as it dries up. I was exhausted. My hands are cut to ribbons from the brambles, and I literally came home, had a bubble bath, sat with this and just kept topping it up. And I started that bath at 3:15 and I got out at 6:30. So yeah, that's how compelling it was. I turned into a prune to finish this book. Yeah, so definitely if you see that anywhere, have a read of that. And I'm currently reading something completely different. But I put the book down when I first saw it in the charity shop, and then I went back and picked it up because I don't know, I was drawn to it. And when I first started reading it, I thought, I've made a mistake. This is not for me. But now I am kind of, you can see, I do the naughty thing of folding it. I know some of you are going to yell at me, but I do fold the page because bookmarks fall out. So I use the book to, I use it and I fold pages. So anyway, yeah, this is a Michael Marshall Smith book called Spares. I'll read it to you. Spares, human clones, the ultimate health insurance, an eye for an eye, but some people are doing all the taking. Spares, the story of Jack Randall, burnt out, dropped out, and with a 0 credit rating at the Luck Bank. After 5 years lying low on a spares farm, looking after inmates that can't even spell luck, he's finally faced with a chance at redemption, if he and the spares can run fast enough. Spares, a breathless race through strange, disturbing territories in a world all too close to our own. Spares, it's fiction, but only just. And it is. I mean, you know, there are things in here which are clearly futuristic. Excuse me, I've got an itch. Clearly futuristic. But the way things are going, you know, you're kind of like, this isn't far from being what we could be living, you know, the world we could be living in. So various people have read this. So David Baddiel, some books stretch the imagination. This one mugs it. Yeah, witty, hard-edged. Yeah, it is witty and hard-edged. So, I mean, it touches on kind of underground, kind of more dark gangs, corrupt cops, you know, in a futuristic setting, drugs, you know, that kind of, that's not me. That's not my kind of happy light reading. It kind of dents my bubble a little bit. But actually, I've really got into it. And I'm halfway through. And although I'm not compelled to read it, although it doesn't flow as easily for me as the other books I've been reading, this is going to be finished probably tonight. And I'm quite looking forward to seeing how it pans out. So, and that one was only 50p. So yeah, I've done well. So that's what I'm currently reading now. So yes, that's my lot. I'm hoping that people will find this interesting. Be interested in some of my reads, might find some books there that they fancy reading. You know, like, subscribe, comment if this is something that interests you, if you want to see more of these sorts of videos, because I'm really enjoying reading them, and if sharing them means other people might enjoy the books, then great. And then what I'll try and do is, because I'm getting through the books quite quickly, is I'll probably do a weekly reads vlog like this one, and let you know each week what I've got through and what I'm currently reading. Thanks for watching.